Welcome friends to another r/am I the jerk video. I might be a jerk for asking, but could you hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? That said, our first story of the day is by Throwaway Bunch of Eights 1967. Am I the jerk for throwing my asexual brother a proper bachelor party? I'll preface this by saying my brother, 26-year-old male, and I, 29-year-old male, are super close. He's about to get married to his lovely girlfriend of 5 years. He's been an out asexual for 2 of those years, and she's been supportive of that. So have I. Love who you love and all that. I'm an ally. I'm the best man at his wedding, or I was the best man at his wedding. His fiancé told me last night that I'm out of the wedding party now, and that my brother was too uncomfortable to make that choice himself. That's weird if you ask me. Be a man and come to me yourself, but whatever. I asked her why, and she said it was because I didn't respect him. When pressing further, she said it was because he's asexual. But I've been nothing but supportive of his life choices. Nobody asked him to have sex with anybody. I was in charge of his bachelor party, and I threw him a freaking amazing party. There was booze and games and all the crap you'd expect. But the problem was, apparently he's rejecting the standard bachelor party stuff, and that would have been fine, but he never told me he wanted anything different. So around the halfway point of the party, I'd ordered a stripper to come in and give my brother a lap dance. And she came in, and he was immediately really weird and tried to push her onto someone else. And I tried to encourage him that it was cool and not cheating or anything, but he was pissed, called his fiancée, and after about 10 minutes, left the venue early. I tried to confront him about it outside, but he told me that he'd talk to me when he cooled off, and he got into his car and left. But he never talked to me about it. And his fiancé did, to tell me I was out of the best man slot. Should I even go to the wedding? Am I a bad brother? Am I the jerk? I think when you're planning the best man party, you gotta know your clientele, right? Sure, the parties thrown by the best man have historically been to yeah, let's have drinks and have some girls come in and blah blah blah. Unless you really know they would probably be into it, you probably should have gone to the brother beforehand and been hey, is hiring a stripper too over the line? And then, when it started becoming obvious that they weren't enjoying it, you shouldn't have tried to coax them to keep going with it. What do you guys think? Does that kind of thing come with the territory of a bachelor's party? Or do you think OP threw a bad party and might be the jerk? Let me know in the comments down below. This next story is by Throwaway H54535. Am I the jerk for telling my daughter that she made a hasty decision to get engaged to her fiancé? My daughter Hannah, 23-year-old female, is a medical student. She lives alone in a rental apartment while seeing her then-boyfriend Tom, 26. Tom has a medical chronic condition that needs to be managed constantly. He's a good guy and treats us and Hannah well, but seeing Hannah having to sometimes take care of his condition is it affects her school and consumes her time. Last week, Hannah surprised us by announcing that she and Tom got engaged. She made the whole announcement while visiting us, and me and her dad were in dismay. She noticed and asked. I had to be honest and tell her that she had made a hasty decision getting engaged to Tom, knowing he has a medical condition that needs constant managing, which will fall on her, especially when she moves in with him. She should be focusing on school for now. She was shocked, but my husband agreed with me and said this wasn't a wise decision. Tom looked down for a minute and then excused himself outside. Hannah got mad and said that Tom's condition doesn't affect or hold her back, not even one bit, and said that I was out of line to imply that Tom was taking advantage of her and that them getting engaged was a mistake. I explained to her that getting engaged and eventually marrying a person with a medical condition requires commitments and dedication, and frankly, I don't see my daughter becoming her partner's caregiver despite her having knowledge about his condition. She shamed me and my husband for saying this in front of Tom, then took her purse and walked out. We called and called later, but she was still mad at us. Eventually, I said what I said because I was worried about her and wanted to make sure she was aware of what she was signing herself up to. Yes, Tom is functional and can do most things by himself, but I'm more worried about the future because it can be unpredictable. I'm sorry, but personally, I think OP is kind of a mega jerk territory. Obviously, they're trying to look out for the best interests of their kid, and I get that. But if you're willing to overlook somebody that they personally care about and cherish enough to commit their lives to, and downplay it because they have a condition that does need managing all throughout their life, and because of that saying, hey, be careful about committing to this person who you love and adore, just makes you a jerk in my eyes. You're basically telling your daughter that you think Tom is inferior and not worth her time, when obviously, if they're getting engaged, she doesn't feel that way, and it's probably a huge slap in the face. Our next story is by Sore Loser AITA. Am I the jerk for calling my brother a sore, slow loser? My wife Irene is very fit. She likes working out and has a proper exercise regime, etc. She believes that if she feels good, she looks good, and she feels good working out. So who am I to stop her? My brother Will spent the latter half of last year going through a messy divorce, and now needs a place to stay. Though my brother and I aren't very close, I figured he would only stay with us for a couple weeks until he got back on his feet. Will is a typical gym rat. He's always on a very strict diet, always working out and bragging about his gains. I've worked out with him a few times, and he's a little obnoxious. He's always mad at you if you don't work at his pace and is always trying to correct your form. He's a pretty fit and muscular guy, but I don't like to exercise with him. Will has been pushing Irene to work out with him because, according to him, she won't be able to keep up with him. Irene mostly just shrugs him off with a laugh and tells him she would love to work out with him. Irene works out in the mornings 3 times a week and then does a run in the evening, but she's been busy this past week and hasn't been able to stick to her usual schedule. Will thinks that she's making excuses because she doesn't want to be embarrassed by him. Again, Irene just laughs him off. About 2 days ago, Irene and Will went on an early morning run. I didn't go with them, but the first thing I heard when Will entered the house was, "The only reason I couldn't keep up with you, Irene, is because you were sweating too much." I found this extremely comical and kinda just laughed him off. Irene rolled her eyes and went to take a shower, so I thought that the conversation would die. However, Will just kept bringing up my wife's sweat. My wife went to work and he told her, "Make sure you don't sweat through your clothes." Or when she called me in the middle of the day, he yelled, "Tell the sweaty witch I said hi." Of course, the witch comment aggravated me, and I told him to knock it off and stop acting like a child. I thought that was the end of it, but he just kept going. By the end of the day, I was tired of his comments, but Irene seemed rather unfazed by them. When she served him food, he made a comment about her sweating into the food. At this point, I was at my wit's end, and I told him to stop acting like a sore, slow, referring to his running pace, loser, and eat his food. Will, of course, got angry and said the only reason he was going slower than usual was because he was distracted by my wife's unhygienic sweat. Irene looked a bit offended by this, and I told Will that I would kick him out if he made another comment like that. He's been super pissed ever since. I jokingly told the story to a mutual friend, and they agreed with Will. Maybe I shouldn't be so harsh. I think OP probably wasn't harsh enough. You're going out for a run, and you're calling sweat unhygienic? The bodily function that is designed to regulate your temperatures because you're hot? Because you're running? That's unhygienic? Isn't that just what working out is? OP's brother is a sore, slow loser, and you don't need to have that kind of negativity and cancer. Do you guys agree that OP should just straight up kick them out for acting like that? Our next story is by ThrowRA65657. Am I the jerk for refusing to add my ex-husband's name to the title of the bookshop I inherited from my father? Context: my ex-husband Kevin, male 37, and I, female 35, got separated 2 years ago. We share custody of our 2 kids, 9 and 5. My father owned a small bookstore in our hometown that I inherited recently. To be honest, the shop doesn't bring a lot of money, and I already have a stable income. Kevin found out and called for an urgent meeting. He came over to my place and said he wanted to talk about the bookshop. I said, "What about it?" And he told me that now the bookshop is officially mine, I should add his name on the title and split whatever profits I get 50-50. I was in shock. I told him he had to be joking, but he reminded me of when his dad passed away and left him inheritance money that he ended up sharing with me. Therefore, I owe him half of my inheritance now. I didn't know what to say, but I mentioned to him that yes, he did share his inheritance with me, but that was while we were married. But now it's a different dynamic, and we no longer share anything. He got upset and argued that I technically owe him regardless of whether we're still together or not, and urged me to consider because the money will be going towards the children anyway. We had a loud argument, and I ended up saying that this will only happen in his dreams and telling him to wake up, then told him to leave. He tried to lash back, but I insisted that he leave. He had his mother call me saying that I lied, deceived, and stole from her son in the past, and I owe him. Not just that, but said I should be rid of my pettiness and resentment towards Kevin and do the right thing for once. We fought on the phone, and yesterday, I was shocked when my 9-year-old son called me a thief out of nowhere. This escalated the fight because Kevin got the kids involved. I think that technically I do owe him because I can't deny that he shared his inheritance with me, but I think that now circumstances are different. Like when we used to share our salaries, but now I don't expect him to do the same anymore, obviously. Still, I might be the delusional one, so am I the jerk? I think OP literally has it exactly right. Sorry to the dude, but he got his inheritance while they were together, sharing everything. OP got their inheritance when they were separate. Regardless of what you did in the past, that's what you did in the past. OP is not beholden to you in any way at this point. I just hope the guy doesn't go and corrupt the kids totally against OP. Our next story is by Akers5676576. Am I the jerk for calling my sister-in-law cruel for excluding her brother, my husband, from her upcoming wedding? My husband, 32, grew up with one sibling, his sister, 28. Their parents separated, and because of that, they drifted apart because each one of them chose one parent to stay with. He had a rocky relationship with sister-in-law growing up as a result, but later got to work out their differences. My husband is a jokester. Sister-in-law complains about being on the receiving end of his pranks and jokes whenever they spent time together. She claimed that because of him, she lost her high school friends, her high school sweetheart, and a lot of self-esteem because his pranks wore her down emotionally and mentally. Now they're in a better place, but old habits die hard, and my husband's still the jokester he was years ago. Sister-in-law got engaged 2 months ago and invited my husband and me. Unfortunately, my husband decided it was a good time to pull a prank on her during the party and lied about her fiancé's brother having an accident that night. He was joking, of course, but things got out of hand and the party got canceled. My sister-in-law yelled at my husband and hasn't been speaking to him ever since. Now her wedding's coming up, but she hasn't sent her brother an invite. Seeing him sad and depressed made me call her to ask what the deal was. She bluntly said she wasn't going to send him an invite to her wedding after he ruined her engagement, but I thought that was excessive. First of all, it was a prank, a regular one that he pulls all the time, and she and everyone else reacted over the top. And besides, he already apologized multiple times, and in my opinion, that should be enough for him to be granted some grace and forgiveness. She said sorry, but she wasn't going to take a risk and invite him so he'd ruin her wedding. And besides that, her fiancé does not feel comfortable having him there, and she agreed with him. I was stunned. I called her cruel because this is her brother, and he never had malicious intentions towards her, yet she keeps getting offended and oversensitive over everything he does. At the end of the day, they're family. She asked that I respected her choice, but I said that this is not okay seeing how sad her brother is, because he doesn't want to miss her wedding. She ended the call after saying she owes no one nothing. I found that real harsh and cruel, and felt like she keeps punishing him over something that was in the past. My husband started crying when I told him about it, but there are actually some family members agreeing with her decision and telling me off for defending my husband's horrid attitude. Having grown up around family members who have made jokes that probably aren't even as bad as OP's husband have made, I know I've left family engagements hoping that I don't talk to that person again or they just leave me alone next time. You can be a jokester all you want, but I think if you're going to be a jokester, you need to read the room and understand not all people are going to react to your pranks the same way, and maybe you should have a little self-control and knock it off once in a while, rather than telling your sister on the day of their engagement party that their fiancé got in an accident as a prank. When you broaden this up and you look as a kid dealing with somebody who pranks you like that throughout your developmental years, I think you're going to already grow a resentment. So imagine already having that baggage, and then on what seems like one of your most important days of your life, the same guy that's been kind of tormenting you and making you feel bad for all your life, go and gives you another scare, and to them probably seems like they're trying to mess up the party somehow. All I'm saying is, I kind of understand, and I do think OP's the jerk. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So of all these stories I've read today, which is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.